Do you wanna give a shout out to any of the ladies?
That GoFundMe is no longer up because apparently second place doesn't get the trip or doesn't get the invite at all.
Wait, there was actually a GoFundMe?
No, I was gonna make one, but then I found out that the invite is only for first and second in place. Just second and third just get a trophy saying you could have been first. Although if anything does happen to that guy, I do get his trip. Not saying I'm gonna do anything, of course. Sorry, getting over a little cough. Hold on, let me get some cough drops.
Halls, please sponsor us.
It's not Halls. I went to CVS.
All right, sir.
It was 24 hours. I needed cough drops. I didn't want to choke while I was sleeping at night.
What do you got first?
All right. So why are we here, Terrell? Why are we here? Or
Hello.
besides, at least me, because this is your house.
It is my place. But you got second place, which is noteworthy.
Oh man.
Tell us about your Nightrose.
She is in fact Bay. I'm going to lose my stand trigger. If that deck does win in top 4 later, I'm gonna lose that stand trigger. And I'm gonna cry because that stand trigger is the best. But the reason we're here is to do a deck profile for the Nightrose deck. I mean, it's a little bit different than what I had at the tournament, but it's more or less the same. Like, I only changed 1 grade 2 and 2 strides that I did not go into at all. But let's just show the deck how it is. I don't see where I am with the placing of cards. Is it good here? Is it good here? Is it good here? I can't see. Good? Alright, I'm getting the thumbs up and he's unloaded the camera. Obviously. Oh man, knocking at the door. Must be the food. And when it dies, you unflip 2. It's really good. And yeah, the other starter I don't really like, and this one just gives me my counterblast for all my stuff.
That was unexpected.
So we got 4 crits. We have the Sea Banshee. Goes into the soul you draw. Build soul for some of my strides later. And some of the grade 2, one of the grade 2s that uses soul.
Oh, so you get 18.
It's a free, just throw it into the soul. Fix the card in your hand, basically. 4 of Nightrose is crit. Similar. When it's on the field and you attack with the Vanguard with Nightrose, you can put it in the soul, draw a card, and Nightrose gets +5 for that attack. Again, it just builds soul, builds hand. You don't lose any cards by doing it. 4 make the ghosties, because the stand trigger is making this deck retardedly broken. Because when you use Nightrose, you can kill it on the opponent's turn, revive it, and now your Vanguard's 21 for the whole turn. And it prevents you from deck out, so this thing can die any way it dies. If it's in a hollow state, it goes back to the deck. So you can just call over it and put stands back in your deck. There's been times where I've had 1 card in my deck, I put back 3 make the ghosties, and I drove check 3 of them, and my opponent couldn't stop 5 attacks like that. 4 heals, because G-guarding is nice, and healing is nice. And I'm not about that YOLO 7 C's of grade 1 rush life. Alright, we're going to move to the grade 1s now. Let's get the obvious cards out of the way. 4 perfect guards. Unflip 1s, because unflipping is nice with this deck. 4 stride enablers for the grade 1s. Boop. 1 bail the ghosty. I was playing 3 before, but I took out 2 for some other cards to stop me from decking out. Because I just end up using King Serpent the same way as using Bail.
King Serpent.
King Serpent. America. 3 Negro Bone, because Negro Bone can kill the card in front of it and revive a unit that has Hollow. There's some plays with it where you can kill the card that just attacked and it's used its effect after the attack, and then you can just revive it and do the same effect again. It just gives you extra attacks. And then 2 Fatal Shade. Because her ability is, after she dies at the end of your turn in the hollow state, you can Soul Blast 1 if you're on a Nightrose, put it to the bottom. Yes, Mr. Chris.
This is my other friend, Chris.
There's too many Chris's in this house now, Terrell.
Yeah.
Goes to the bottom of your deck, call any unit from the drop zone that's not a grade 2. I mean a grade 1. The reason she's in there is because with Nightrose it kind of gets like out of hand when you almost deck yourself out. And this lets you revive a card without having to mill 3 on your turn, so that works. 3 King Serpent. I was playing 2 before, but I put it to 3 because I really wanted to. I noticed I wasn't getting it a lot often, and getting the Soul or King Serpent is basically a free revive and Soul, which matters sometimes. Also, there was times where I was fighting Dimensional Police and I didn't want to ride a 9K and I didn't want to give him Counterblast, and I was like, hey, King Serpent. Hey, I don't want to get punched in the face with Commander Laurel.
That's right.
And they can't do anything if they don't have Counterblast. And then 4 of Terrell's favorite card, Negro Lazy. Yeah, it's your favorite card, right, Terrell?
Fuck you.
Negro lazy.
It says actually it's Negro, but people just read it as Negro Lazy.
Negro lazy.
Negro lazy.
Because
Negro lazy.
Negro is considered black.
It's Negro lazy. So
It's a dark shade.
Negro Lazy.
For black.
And my turn.
Blank.
His effect is when placed, can be placed from anywhere, hand or drop zone. He can counterblast Soul Blast if you're on Nightrose. Revive any grade 2 or lower that's not him.
Yeah, I don't really
And then at the end of the turn, if he's in the hollow state, he gets to unflip and soul charge. So he pays his cost for himself. 4 of the Cannoneer, because retiring the opponent's cards and drawing is really good. Especially when you can do a fun Denial Griffin turn on the opponent's turn, and then you draw.
I really like to do what I want to do, and you're just not.
And then 2 Negro Rook. Is it Rook? I keep forgetting the names. Yep, Rook. I was playing, what is it, the Slash Shade? This one's Fatal. Yeah, I was playing Slash Shade before, but I noticed, like, I wasn't hitting the 16 column, and it was just, like, 15 most of the time. It was kind of pointless. It was just to, like, fix Counterblast, but I ended up, like, not caring and just putting it back to normal. And then we're going to the 3s. 4 of the first Nightrose. This is honestly like your go-to 3 at all times, more or less. Her effect is to revive a unit when you stride for a counterblast. So most of the time you revive King Serpent or something you need on the field. And when you bring back King Serpent, you gain the counterblast and the soul in a new soul for just reviving it for the counterblast, so you don't really spend anything on it. Her GB2 is amazing. When a unit on your field is sent to the graveyard, doesn't matter how, destroyed, sent, goes from field to the graveyard, you can revive it by milling 3 cards from the top of your deck.
That's pretty cool.
And this is how you do the things on the opponent's turn with the G-Guard, or if you're fighting Kagura and they just retire your stuff. Although the thing you gotta watch out is her effect has to trigger on the first card that dies, otherwise you cannot pay its cost. Because it's just like Tidal Assault, where it's once per turn and it has to be when it activates or you don't do it.
And now you remember after beating me 7 games cheating.
Hey, you weren't playing any decks that retiring, so yeah.
Only ask
I
because I
do.
know you hate that fucker.
You weren't playing it though.
Eventually, please.
Oh,
Wow.
You didn't retire anything on my field.
You didn't ask me to.
Why would I ask you to retire things on my field?
What's life?
It's pronounced
29.
Touche.
7.
Shit.
And the last 2 3s are the new Nightrose. It's just there for the name, to be honest. Her effect is nice to revive a grade 1 behind her. It lets you revive the bone to get more attacks by killing her.
Nope, I'm probably going to try to equalize things between.
And then Mighty Rogue, Night Storm. He's really cool, really good. After he attacks, if he's in the hollow state, you can revive any unit from the drop zone. And then if you have the bone behind him, you can kill it, bring it right back, and then just do the same effect. Gives you a stupid amount of attacks.
Take shield.
Okay, that's the deck for the grade 1s, the 2s, 3s, and 0s. Let's go to the 4s, because that's the part that matters, right? 4 Gash, because this card is literally stupid. Just counterblast 1, soul blast 1. Every time you soul blast, you revive, so you can revive 5 cards for free, basically, considering all the cards in this deck that soul charge. And then he powers them all up for each face-up unit in the G zone. And also the units don't die, so you have units that don't die at the end of your turn now because of that.
Huh?
It's usually my first stride, unless I have absolute like trash in the drop zone, so I just go into Obadiah.
Am I taking an additional time?
Yep.
Oh, the second stride, Dragnot.
Okay.
This card lets you like, this card is really good, especially when you're fighting like decks that need field, because you can just wipe their whole board without even trying. Its effect is Counterblast 2, discard anything at Generation Break 3.
Butcher was targeting shielded, you blinked it out, so it's...
Revive a unit for each rearguard on your field,
No, it's safe.
or each unit on your field. And for every unit you revive that has the hollow ability, the opponent retires a card on their board.
It was swinging when Alicia brings it back.
And then if their whole board is wiped after that, you draw a card.
And then Alicia lives.
It's pretty good. It just wipes away all the opponent's stuff and you just put more pressure onto them.
No, I'm not.
I'm playing 2 of the Nightrose Stride now. Before I wasn't, but I took out a couple things that I never went into, and I was like, yeah, this can work. Because there was a lot of times where I was using the Negro Songer, and I was like, Nightrose would have done the same thing, and except it wouldn't have hurt me as much. And it's for just in case I'm not on the Nightrose 3 and I need to have the name.
I can go and grab Ashnod's Altar and do the combo to kill you all with Murder Strike Count.
2 Songer, because Songer has to flip itself for the cost, and then it can, after it attacks, Counterblast 1, discard something, look at the top 4, mill up to 1 card from
I
there.
just attacked you enough to try and equalize.
Revive any unit from the drop zone. The unit revive gains 5,000 for each face-up unit in your generation zone. When I was in the fight for, I think, top 3, or to decide who was going to fight first place, or who was going to fight for first and second, I went into this and I swung with a King Serpent that was 38k and he couldn't block it. It was kind of crazy.
25.
Obadiah, because Obadiah is kind of stable in this deck. Mill cards that you don't have in the drop zone and then revive them back. Regular ground blue stuff. 2 Negro Lilies slots. Yeah, G-Guard. Because she kills a unit on your board during the opponent's turn, and then you bring back a normal Ghosty. That part about bringing back a Ghosty doesn't matter more or less, but being able to kill your card and then bring it back with Nightrose is really good, because that's how you trigger all the effects on the opponent's turn. And then it's a free 36k shield for a counterblast. And then 1 Negro mode, because its ability is the Soul Blast. 1. When it's placed, it gains 5 shield if there's 5 cards in the drop zone, gains another 5 if there's 10 in the drop zone, it gains another 5 if there's 15. There's the new G-Guard that flips from the Pirates collection is probably going to replace this one. Because it's pretty much the same thing, except I don't need to have the number of cards in the drop zone. 1 Deep Corpse Dragon, just for the free 31 shield to milk 2 cards. It's just a G-Guard, and it's a cool dragon. And then 1 Sea Breeze, because screw all those people who don't want to ride to 3 properly. And they're like, oh, I'm going to stay here, and you can't do anything. And I'm just like, Sea Breeze, hold these hands. But yeah, that was pretty much my deck for regional, more or less. Oh man, camera's back.